The Julián Álvarez deal is about to be collapsed. PSG are now in the mix and they want to pay more than 150 million being requested by Atlético Madrid. And Atlético Madrid have said that they are not going to sell Julián Álvarez to their direct rivals, Barcelona. And now the deal, which was likely weeks ago, months ago, was likely to happen. It was inevitable. Remember, I made a video about this, that this Julián Álvarez deal looks like another Nico Williams deal. And now the deal is about to collapse. But there's one important thing, one very important thing that happened this week. Deco, who is the sporting director, which we have spoken about, that he's going to have a very, very busy summer, currently is now in London. And now the attention has shifted from Julián Álvarez to João Pedro. What do you think about João Pedro? Do you think he's a big fit? It's going to be a perfect fit for a position left by one of the greatest of all time, Robert Lewandowski, who happens to be the last game, who is going to play the last game against Real Betis this Sunday. Let's dive into it. Deco, the sporting director of Football Club Barcelona, have a very, very strong summer to come. Have a very busy summer to come. If he thinks, okay, this summer is going to be one of the most easiest summer, you're dealing with players being going out. You're dealing with players that are supposed to come in. And one of the names and one of the positions that is most talked about in recent time, recent months and recent weeks in Barcelona is the forward position, where Robert Lewandowski is going to leave at the end of the season. And we're looking for a very, very suited profile that will substitute a position which is going to be very, very difficult. A position where Robert Lewandowski has already stamped himself as one of the best strikers Barcelona has ever brought into the club. There's Luis Suarez, there's Samuel Eto'o, there's Lionel Messi, there's Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and the names goes on. And now we're looking for this striker. And everybody wants Julián Álvarez. Everybody is speaking about Julián Álvarez. But Atlético Madrid said, no, we're not going to sell it to you. We're not going to sell Julián Álvarez to you. Instead, we sell Julián Álvarez to Paris Saint-Germain, who wants to bring 175 million. That's paying triple the amount Barcelona wants to pay. Barcelona was like, I'm going to give you 100 million. First and foremost, they said Barcelona wants to pay 70 million plus Ronald Araujo. They said, no. Okay, we're going to give you 100 million plus Marc Casado. Atlético Madrid said no. They said, okay, they're going to add 80 million plus Ferran Torres. And Atlético Madrid said no. They said, instead of giving Barcelona that amount, that price, or selling him to Barcelona, they prefer selling him to Paris Saint-Germain. But the truth is this, Julián Álvarez doesn't see himself as an Atlético Madrid player coming next season. But Barcelona has to do something. The club has to do something. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket. We need something else. We need to make an option. Before you know, June is already arrived. Before you know, the next season is already coming. What are the plans? So the plans you have to make is now. You're looking for a defender, Bastoni. You're looking for a left back, Cucurella. You're looking for a right back, which many have been talked about. We don't know who's going to come in. And you're looking for a left winger, which we don't know who's going to come in. But there's a position that every Barcelona fans want sorted out before the start of the season, even before the season ends, which is the position of the center forward, which is being left, like I said, by Robert Lewandowski. And who is most suited? Every Barcelona are talking about Julián Álvarez. I have said Victor Osimhen. Which for me is the best suited in that position. But it seems the club has other ideas, right? The club has other ideas. And now the club are seeing that Julián Álvarez, who is the preferred person in that position, is having complications with the deal. Now it seems like the deal is about to collapse. And now this week we heard that Deco is in London. Deco have traveled to London, to Chelsea, to speak about João Pedro. João Pedro is a very good profile, a very, very good striker. I don't know if he's going to fit well in Barcelona. Time will tell if that's the deal Barcelona want to go for. But João Pedro is the best striker in Chelsea. But here comes the most interesting part. Chelsea are not going to be in the Champions League next season. They're on the verge of losing their spot in the Conference and the Europa League. Chelsea are losing a lot of money, and some of the players are going to find their way out of the club because you don't want to be in a place where you played the Champions League last season and now you are not playing any Champions League. You don't want to be another Manchester United. So the players are looking for a place where they could fit in. And João Pedro is one of the names being called in Barcelona. And if Barcelona call you, you have to accept. You see, Barcelona and Real Madrid, these are the two clubs you cannot say no to. Except there's a bigger circumstance that, okay, that would deprive that chance for playing for both of these clubs. We all knew what happened to Kylian Mbappe. At the end of the day, Kylian Mbappe is now in Real Madrid because it's inevitable. These are the two clubs you can't just say no to. But the good thing is, Julián Álvarez deal is about to collapse, and Barcelona need something. They're going all in for João Pedro, but I have a problem with Deco because it seems like he loves Brazilian players. Look at other profiles, not just João Pedro. There's Victor Osimhen. Barcelona wants a striker that will give them this happiness, that will give them this illusion for the next season. Yes, we have Lamine Yamal. Having Lamine Yamal is like having Lionel Messi. Yes, we understand that. But Lamine Yamal needs somebody when he can be able to give pass and he can be able to score. Ferran Torres is never that man. Now Lewandowski is going, we have to deal with Ferran Torres. But we have to deal with Ferran Torres as the second option of the number 9 that we are about to bring in. So who is this going to be the number 9? The name calling out, the name being put in the front of the table now is João Pedro after the collapse. After the deal is about to be collapsed of Julián Álvarez. And the question I'm asking you guys is, do you think João Pedro is better suited for Barcelona than Julián Álvarez? Or do you think Barcelona should go all in, pay the 120 million, pay 130 million for Julián Álvarez? Because João Pedro, yes, it might be cheaper than Julián Álvarez, but Chelsea are going to collect no less than 100 million. So would you spend 100 million for João Pedro? Or would you prefer fighting? Spend 120 million at least, plus a player for Julián Álvarez, which for me, I don't see him worth that 120 million. I even don't see Julián Álvarez worth 100 million. I see Julián Álvarez as an 80 million, 70 million player. Same as João Pedro, because they are not something extraordinary. In fact, Victor Osimhen is way better than these two players in front of the box. And still his name is not being mentioned. We are looking for a kind of player that will suit in this Hansi Flick system. A player that will mark his presence in the box, just as Robert Lewandowski. Because you're not playing against Manchester United. You're not playing against Manchester City. You're not playing against other teams. You're not going to play when you go to PSG as Julián Álvarez. You're not going to play against all these teams you play in La Liga. La Liga is more competitive than French league. That's why you see Paris Saint-Germain winning the league 15 games before the season finished. That's why you see Bayern Munich winning their league 10 games before the season finished. But in La Liga, the league could even go way further. And that is why it's recommendable to see the job of Hansi Flick. So if you are a Barcelona fan, would you appreciate the signing of João Pedro over Julián Álvarez, or do you prefer Barcelona go all in on Julián Álvarez over João Pedro? I'll be reading down in the comment below. I appreciate the love you guys are showing to me. We are on our way to 1,000. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Peace.